The Allied Democratic Forces is a rebel group in Uganda and the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Considered a terrorist organization by the Ugandan government. It was originally based in western Uganda but has expanded into the neighboring DRC. Since the late 1990s, the ADF has operated in the DRC's North Kivu province near the border with Uganda. While repeated military offensives against the ADF have severely affected it, the ADF has been able to regenerate because its recruitment and financial networks have remained intact. Some of the attacks it has been blamed for also appear to have been committed by other rebel groups, as well as the Congolese armed forces. The ADF was formed as merger of several rebel factions, including the Allied Democratic Movement, the National Army for the Liberation of Uganda, the Uganda Muslim Liberation Army, and militant members of the Tablighi Jamaat movement. The main figure of the group was Jamil Mukulu, a former Catholic who converted to Islam. The members were largely from central Uganda, in particular Iganga, Masaka, and Kampala, and portrayed themselves as religious crusaders. Beyond this vaguely stated religious ideology and statements that the government discriminates against Tablighis, the ADF has given few coherent rationales for their insurgency. The ADF chose western Uganda apparently for three reasons: terrain that is ideal for a rural insurgency, proximity to the DRC where the rebels could set up bases and recruit fighters, and the presence of some Ugandan ethnic groups unfriendly to the government that could offer assistance. It received support from the government of Sudan, which was engaged in disputes with the government of Uganda. Since the 2000s, the ADF has shown no commitment to its original goal of creating an Islamic State except to use it as a narrative to unite its members. By the late 2000s, its leaders had ceased making public proclamations, avoided media and harshly punished runaways. With their methods, the leadership managed to minimize any interactions that might reveal its objectives and activities. This also worked to their advantage, allowing them to survive despite repeated military attacks. While in-depth research explores the group's early years in Uganda, there has been hardly any in-depth academic analysis on its activities since it resurfaced in the Congo in 2010. Per Christophe Titeka, the lack of knowledge has also been exploited by some political players to craft the narratives for their own objectives. A report of the Congo Research Group at New York University, released in September 2017, indicted the Congolese army commanders of orchestrating the massacres in Beni from 2014 to 2016. It cited multiple witnesses saying that army commanders, including the former top general in the zone, supported and in some cases organized the killings. Sources told it that during some massacres, soldiers secured the perimeter so that victims could not escape. It stated that the first massacres were orchestrated in 2013 by former leaders of the rebel group, Popular Congolese Army, which fought in the Congo War of 1998 to 2003 to create a new rebellion and undermine confidence in the central government of DRC. These rebels were working with ADF per the report. However, when the massacres began, the army commanders co-opted many of the networks of the local militias to weaken their rivals. During March 2007, the Uganda People's Defense Force engaged incursive ADF groups in multiple firefights, killing at least 46 in Bundibagyo and Mubende districts. The biggest battle occurred on the 27th of March, when the UPDF faced an estimated 60 ADF troops and killed 34, including 3 senior commanders. The UPDF claimed to have retrieved numerous weapons as well as documents that tied the ADF to the Lord's Resistance Army. On 13 April 2007, the UPDF and ADF engaged in an intense battle inside the Semaliki National Park, near the upscale Semaliki Lodge tourist destination. Ceasefire and amnesty talks between the government of Uganda and the ADF were held in Nairobi, starting in May 2008. Negotiations were complicated by the fragmentation of the ADF's leadership. Non-combatant dependents of the ADF were repatriated to Uganda by the International Organization for Migration. At least 48 ADF fighters surrendered and were given amnesty. As the threat from the LRA in the DRC waned, the UPDF put increasing focus on the ADF as a reason for UPDF personnel to remain in the DRC. 2011 to 2013, several hundreds of people were kidnapped in Beni, some by ADF and some by other armed groups. In April 2013, it was reported that ADF started a recruitment campaign in Kampala and other parts of the country, citing a defector from ADF. AllAfrican.com reported that approximately 10 new recruits joined ADF forces every day. In July 2013, the ADF renewed its fighting in the Congolese district of Beni. According to the UN Radio Okapi, the ADF together with the Nalu fought a pitched battle with T.